Welcome, Rebels, to episode 29 of the RebelRebel podcast. I'm your host, Michael Dargy. Huge thanks to EMRE Chords for our killer theme music. And don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Music, or anywhere else you get your podcast from. The RebelRebel podcast is sponsored by Make More Creative and, of course, Drop Bear and Panda Productions. If you're a Rebel and interested in sharing your story, head on over to www.therebelrebelpodcast.com, and in the bottom right of the footer, you're going to see a link to fill out a guest form. Click it, fill it out, and one of our Rebels will get back to you. Now, in this episode, I talk with Dani Morin from Dark Sparkle Designs. We chat about building an online business, welding, what it's like being a woman in the trades, Wasteland Weekend, the apocalypse, and living the rebel life in Arizona. Please welcome Dani Morin. Together with me in Kensington studio is none other than Dani Morin of Dark Sparkle Designs.
Hi, Michael.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
You own two companies. One is Spark and Sparkles boutique.
Yes.
And then you have Dark Sparkle Designs.
Yes.
You're also a metal worker.
Yes, I'm a journeyman steel fabricator and a journeyman welder.
Awesome. You've been in the military as well. Like you've done a bunch of stuff.
Yes, I have.
Oh, and I might get this wrong, so correct me. But did you do some of the metal work that's on Memorial Drive here in Calgary for the War Memorial?
I did. It's the War Memorial that is in between 14th Street and 10th Street. It has the marble pillars on it.
Yeah.
The company I was working for, another company approached them because they couldn't take on the project.
Yeah.
And so we ended up taking it on, and I got to weld and grind about half of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
I have so many questions, and we'll get to the boutique and the and Dark Sparkles, but just to hang on this for a second, what got you interested in metalwork and steel fabrication? Because I mean that's pretty cool and kick ass.
It is. So I went to Mount Royal when I got out of high school and got a marketing management diploma.
Okay.
And figured that wasn't any better than really a high school diploma. And that's when Mount Royal was still a college. They didn't have their university accreditation at the time.
Yeah.
So I got this diploma from Mount Royal and went, well, okay, I don't know. I decided to go to university.
Yeah.
So I went to university and got a Bachelor of Commerce degree with majors in marketing and human resources.
Wow.
So then I went into the workforce and got a job and ended up working at a personnel agency. So I did placements for a couple of years for office work and professional work.
Yeah.
And then the boss I was working for wasn't super professional. And she comes in one day and she's like, don't come to work tomorrow. It's like, okay, why? We're moving. What? She did a midnight move on the company she was like leasing this space from.
Oh my God.
And at that point I was just like, yeah, okay, I don't want to work here anymore. I'm done with that.
Oh my God. Yeah, no
So kidding. I left that, and then we had opened up Machine Nightclub. So
right, okay.
I was the operations manager for that for like a year and a half.
I was down on 11th Avenue,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it was.
Industrial?
Yeah. Kind of like alternative.
Yeah.
We had different nights.
Cool.
Going on. So when we closed that, I was kind of at a crossroads. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, if I wanted to go back into office work.
Yeah.
And so my husband actually paid for evening night class at SAIT for me in oxyacetylene welding for my birthday.
Holy that's
So
a great present.
I wound up taking that, and I absolutely loved it. And when I was growing up, we had a neighbor across the street from us who was a welder. And so I was super interested in like how you can like merge two pieces of metal together and like create stuff.
Right.
So, having only taken this one night class, I think it was like only 6 or 8 weeks long, I did up my resume and I started sending them out to welding companies. I want to get a job.
Really?
So, yeah. So I sent out, I think, 6 resumes, and I got interviewed by, at the time, I can't remember what they called, Hydrig, who now has been acquired, and they're a part of National Oil Well Varco.
Oh, okay.
They interviewed me and they hired me on.
Wow.
Yeah. So I initially wanted to become a welder.
Yeah.
But the supervisor I worked under convinced me to become a structural steel fabricator, which is basically you learn how to read blueprints and cut metal and drill holes in metal and mark metal so you can bend it and basically make all the pieces.
Oh my God.
So a fitter makes the pieces and fits them, tack welding them, and then you give that to the welder who then welds it.
Right.
So I did that. I started there and started my apprenticeship and got my structural steel plate fitter. It's a 3-year journeyman.
Wow.
So you have to go to school once a year for 3 months at a time and then get X number of hours.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, in order to be a better fitter, I want to learn how to weld.
Yeah.
As well. So I did my welding journeymanship as well.
Holy shit.
So I have 2 structural, 2 tickets, 2 journeyman tickets.
Damn.
2 red seal. Yeah. And there's also a blue seal program. So, and that's the back end, all the office administrative work. A lot of people don't know about the blue seal program.
No, not at all.
So because I had a degree and I had all of these courses and all of these hours in business classes, all I had to do was pay them $50 and send in the paperwork, and I got my blue seal.
Holy crap.
And 2 red seals.
Damn, that is cool.
So I'm actually alumni at 4 post-secondary institutions.
That's a lot.
It is.
Damn. Okay, so follow-up question. You guys are... so you live down in the U.S.
Yes.
And you've got this big chunk of land out there, and you've got some vehicles. Do you help build some of these radical vehicles? Like, do you weld stuff onto... And I forget the name of the events you guys go
Wasteland
to.
Weekend.
Yeah, Wasteland Weekend. So do you help sort of build that sort of stuff, like Mad Max shit?
Yeah, a little bit. We acquired I think it's a 1926 Auburn Henny hearse.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen pictures of this.
Yeah, and because we were up in Canada still at that point, we had a buddy at the time who was doing some work on it. And when we were down at the event, we were modifying the doors and whatnot. So I was actually welding on site at the event. And then last year there was a whole build. We actually built a car at Wasteland Weekend. One of our tribe mates, Spud, brought in a chassis. He worked on the chassis and he brought in the chassis. Yeah. Another guy, Emmy, brought in the body, and we actually put the thing together at Wasteland. I did a bit of welding, but not much. I had a car accident in 2012. Yeah. And it messed up my neck and shoulder, and I got TMJ. And so that's why I actually no longer weld full time. Oh. It was impeding my recovery process. Yeah. So I was on half days for a while, and then management decided they wanted me in quality control. Yeah. So I went into quality control, and on my own dime, I became a welding inspector. I took time off.
Holy shit.
I got my own, I paid for the course on my own. Yeah. And became a level 1 certified CWB welding inspector. So I did that for a year. But that was tough when you're a female in the trades.
Is it a thing?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, for sure. My first job at Hydro Rig, one of the guys came up and said, "Why aren't you in the office?" Because I was a female working on the floor. A lot of companies don't even want to hire women. Wow. Because you're a distraction. They don't think you can do the job as good as them. Well, Jesus. Guess what, boys? Yeah. Sometimes we can do it better.
Yeah. Well, 3 tickets plus a welding inspector plus 4 post-secondary institutions.
It is what it is. You just go and do your job. Yeah. Some guys have issues with it. So
get over it, guys.
Yeah, being a female welding inspector, telling the guys that I'm sorry, your welds aren't up to par. Oh, that's tough to swallow, right? I guess. So after doing it for a year, and at that point, my settlement had come in, and I decided it was time to move on to something else. Okay. So I actually started taking interior design online for a while.
No shit.
Yeah. So wow. So I've been fascinated by architecture and decor and so.
Well, so you, I guess, never stop learning, right?
No, I like learning new things.
Yeah, that's awesome. So where did Spark and Sparkles Boutique come from?
Okay, so we moved to the States. Initially, it was to Connecticut for an amazing job.
Yeah.
That's why it was worth selling the house here, moving across the country.
Right.
So after a year, the company my husband got a job with laid off like 25% of the workforce, and he was one of them. So we didn't really like Connecticut, so we wanted to come back out west. So we lived in RV for 7 months, traveling around,
Looking for a place to land.
where we wanted to land. And we wanted to be within like X number of miles from an airport because we still have a lot of family and the child is up here and whatnot.
Yeah.
And we looked at heat maps, if it was triple digits on average. Oh, yeah.
Really?
If it was triple digits on average in like, say, July and August, it was out of the question.
Really?
I'm actually allergic to the sun. I get what they call polymorphic light eruptions.
Holy shit.
It's like water blisters. So I have to be super careful.
Wow.
Yeah, so we wound up in Arizona.
That seems counterintuitive.
And I became a welder. So, allergic to UV rays. That's, smart.
Crazy. Okay, so Arizona.
Yeah. So anyway, we wound up in Arizona, just outside of this small town called Kingman. Has about 50,000 people total with the surrounding area and whatnot. So,
sorry, what sort of landscape is that? Like, I'm not familiar.
We're on the very edge of the Mojave Desert.
Okay.
So we're at 4,300 feet. Yeah. So it is hilly. We are in the foothills of what they call mountains.
Gotcha.
Which to me, they're just very big hills that want to be mountains when they grow up.
Yeah.
They're nothing like the Rockies.
Yeah.
But it is hilly, and we do have a lot of juniper trees and pinyon pines.
Okay.
And we have a couple of different kinds of cactuses that grow out there. So it's really pretty.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, quite a lot higher than Calgary. Actually, I always thought Calgary was high altitude, but you guys are much higher.
Yeah, 4,300 feet. Kingman is at about 3,300, so we're 1,000 feet higher.
Yeah.
So we do get a tiny, tiny bit of snow in the winter, but it doesn't stay very long. I think last year we got one day of just a dusting, and it was gone in an hour.
Yeah. So you guys ended up finding this place, and is it like? Do you have a big chunk of property? Like
we have 26 acres.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So
cool. And so, like, do you give me the day in the life of
a day in the life of?
Yeah, you're living on the edge of the Mojave Desert. You're a steel fabricator. You've got a design company for Spark and Sparkles, and then you've got Dark Sparkles Designs. What is how did you get inspired to do Spark and Sparkles, I guess, is where I'm going.
Okay, so moving out to, I guess, we're 18 miles out of town.
Yeah.
And Ben, my husband, works from home. He works for Cisco Systems, and he gets to travel a lot.
Yeah.
So my options were, do I get a job in town that pays like $10 an hour and isn't going to let me take a whole lot of time off because he travels and I can actually travel with him.
Yeah.
The company doesn't mind at all.
Awesome.
Like, we just got to pay my airfare.
Go Cisco.
So I wind up traveling with him a fair bit. So it was like, I can either start my own company where I then have the flexibility to take the time off.
Yeah.
Or I'm constantly finding jobs and quitting jobs because they won't let me take the time off, or I miss the opportunity to go travel someplace, new and exciting.
Yeah,
and
cool.
whatnot. So we decided, I'll start a company making jewelry and hair accessories.
Huh.
And yeah, so that's what I've been doing for the last, I guess, year and a bit, because I opened it in August, I think, of last year. I opened Sparks and Sparkles Boutique.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so, and I mean, you've got like two brands, really, Spark and Sparkles Boutique, and then you've got Dark Sparkles Design. And somewhere along the line, you split off.
Yeah, okay. So, so the Sparks and Sparkles is supposed to come from welding, because I actually wanted to get into welding so I could make my own furniture and decor and stuff like that. But it never happened because I ended up doing it as a job.
Right.
And then you kind of lose interest. You don't want to go home after a day of doing that all day and then do some more of it.
Yeah.
So I never really got into it, but that was one of the things I wanted to do was make more like furniture, home decor items.
Yeah.
I decided upon the name Sparks and Sparkles Boutique. And I was just creating, I don't know, stuff. I have a very eclectic, I guess, sense of style.
Sure.
Some of it is Art Nouveau. Some of it is Art Deco inspired, Gothic. Yeah. It's just...
whatever you feel like.
Whatever I feel like. Yeah. And so my brother, my younger brother, Mark, I asked him to create my logo for me because he owns a company called Impello, and he does, he's a graphic designer. Yeah. And he does branding, corporate branding and whatnot. So he was inspired by one of the skull pieces I made. Yeah. And he designed the skull logo for me. Yeah. So I was using that. And then at some point, I started making more skull pieces, and I got into making pieces with salvaged items like antique keys and rusty hardware. And I think it was kind of hampering sales. Oh. You know, someone would come to the site and not really be like, why is there a skull logo and what is, you know?
They weren't quite getting the
Yeah, it didn't fit the aesthetics anymore. So earlier this year in July, I decided to kind of branch off and put the skulls and the steampunk and the salvaged pieces kind of into their own store. Cool. And so I moved the logo over from there. And he had actually done a couple mock-up logos for me. Yeah. So I took a different one that he made that was more elegant, I guess, and used that one for the Sparks and Sparkles now. Oh, okay, cool. And so Dark Sparkle has its own kind of look and style. Yeah. So
that's awesome. So you got two brands.
Yeah, which is a lot of work because 2 Etsy stores means 2 Facebook pages, 2 Pinterest accounts, 2 Instagram accounts.
That's a lot to manage, yeah.
Plus keeping track of all the behind the scenes.
Yeah, so super curious, how do you find working with Etsy? Is it like, and the reason why I ask is, like Drop Bear and Panda, for example, we've looked at putting stuff, like doing our own merch and putting it on Etsy. But it's confounding to me, to be honest.
It's actually a super easy platform. They make it pretty standardized for your listings.
Oh, okay.
And you can start a store with 20 cents.
Really?
That's to list an item for 4 months, it's 20 cents.
Wow.
What gets... I guess kind of frustrating is they're constantly playing with their algorithm. Yeah. Like how people search and how you get found in searches.
Gotcha.
And so they keep changing things. So when I first started posting on Etsy, they were like, you have a title and it's 120 characters and you should fill it as much as possible with all these different phrases that people are going to use to search for your item. Yeah. And so all the experts were saying, you should do this. And then you have tags. You have 13 tags that you also use for searchable phrases. So the experts are like, fill in your title bar and then use the same phrases in your tags. But other people are saying, use different phrases for your tags so you have more searchable phrases. Right. And now they're saying, use short titles. And do this and do that. And so for some stores, like I have 200 items in one shop and 120 in another shop.
Oh, shit. To go back and change that would be...
You spend a lot of time tweaking stuff constantly. Yeah. And then there's... the last stats I saw were 1.98 million stores on Etsy selling over 50 million products.
Holy crap.
So how do you get found?
Right.
they obviously want you to pay to promote your items. They keep changing their fee structure.
Oh, man.
So I'm actually looking at other avenues that I can use to sell my stuff.
Interesting. So what have you looked at so far? I mean, just in terms of sort of what's top of mind, like Facebook Marketplace, like, is that a thing? I know nothing about it.
Potentially. I do have an album on my Facebook page where I list items.
Yeah.
I was looking into Facebook to have a store on Facebook, but when they asked for my social security number, I kind of backed out.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
For you to get paid, I was like, no, I have a PayPal. People can just, if they want it,
That's cool.
Message me about it or something, and you can send me the money via PayPal, but I'm not giving Facebook my social security number.
Yeah, no kidding. They got enough info.
Yeah.
Facebook.
So I do have a website for Sparks and Sparkles on Wix.
Yeah.
But I find their SEO to be very lacking. Oh, okay. And it's not a shop.
Yeah.
Because that takes X amount of money a month you have to pay, and I'm actually not at the point where I can afford to pay like $15 or $20 a month to have a store.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you got Wix, if you got Facebook, if you're managing 2 accounts, if you're like, I mean, that's a lot. Mm-hmm. It's a lot to do.
So I'm actually thinking of toning down on the Sparks and Sparkles and focusing more on dark sparkles and getting back into more welding, because I want to make home decor. I want to get into making lights, like
cool.
funky lights.
I've got so my up here on my shelf are 2 earthquake detectors that were built.
That's what those are.
Yeah. So I'll pull one down so you can look at it. But those were done by an artisan out on Vancouver Island, and they're basically metal coil springs. Then they sit there balanced, and then when an earthquake hits, they start to dance, which is cool. Super cool. So and that sort of thing, like plasma cutting and
I have a plasma cutter.
Oh my god, I'm so jealous. I would love that. That's amazing. So what sort of next steps for you? You're maybe refine your brand to dark sparkles and focus more on that?
Yeah, I think so. That's what the goal is anyway.
Yeah.
Because that seems to be, well, I still make stuff for Sparks and Sparkles, but the focus more has been on dark sparkle design.
Yeah.
I just got some really amazing lapel pins and cufflinks that are in the shape of skulls.
Yeah.
And I'm so enamored with the Swarovski flatback skulls right now.
Yeah.
I want to put together gift sets for groomsmen.
Oh, cool.
Or for Father's Day, where it's like a money clip, the skull tie tack, the skull cufflinks.
Just,
that kind of stuff.
That's kick-ass. Well, I've got money clips.
I know.
And they're freaking amazing.
And then I also like refinishing furniture.
Oh, okay. Like wood or metal, both?
Kind of both. I had an old china cabinet my mom gave me, and it was like from the 60s. Wow. So I took the glass out of it. And I actually, back in the day when the warehouse was around, they had the big dance cage.
Yeah.
Well, they ripped it out and threw it out outside, and I was just like, oh. So I took a piece of the expanded mesh and I loaded it in the back of my car and I took it home. And so I actually took the glass out of the windows on this china cabinet and put the expanded mesh in there with some flashing behind it.
Oh my God.
Painted the cabinet so it's black, and then used stainless steel handles.
Yeah.
And that's one of my dressers at home.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
So
and a little piece of history too.
Yeah. I love just taking old objects and repurposing them and giving them new life.
Awesome.
Stuff like that.
Do you do commission work? Is that something that you've looked at or would like to do, or? You don't have to say yes. I mean, I'm just wondering.
No, I tend not to. A lot of the components I use, especially in Sparks and Sparkles, are vintage. So they're vintage cabochons, vintage Swarovski rhinestones.
Oh, okay.
A lot of the stuff is discontinued. You can't get it. So when I buy it, I'll buy a very limited quantity and what I have is what I have.
Okay.
And once it's gone, that's it.
Yeah.
Typically, I can't get it anymore.
Okay.
So
if, yeah, okay, cool. So, like, and just to be clear, if I were to say, hey, I'm looking for a throne made of swords, is that something you could fabricate or would be interested in doing, or is that just not a thing that you would want to do?
Oh, that's a tough one.
I ask all the hard questions.
That's a tough one because, like, obviously you have this picture of what you want in your head, right?
Sure, yeah.
And I honestly used to get in trouble at work all the time because I'm such a perfectionist.
Yeah.
I would take too long and make things look too pretty.
Yeah.
Because I take a lot of pride in my work.
Yeah,
and I'm not just going to, make something. So it would honestly have to be like perfect. And it would probably take me so long.
It would be really expensive.
Probably.
Yeah.
So
okay, cool. That's awesome. You do things for what's the word I'm looking for? You're not a burner.
No, Wasteland Weekend.
Wasteland. And so is it like a society or like it's obviously a group, you guys?
It's a festival that happens in the Mojave Desert every September.
And is there like sort of a group of like Wastelanders that, is that something you work on throughout the year for that weekend?
So we have a tribe, but we actually live all over the place. We have a lot of the members in California. There's us in Arizona. We have some in New Mexico, some in Nevada. So sometimes we do get together and have build days where we do build stuff for Wasteland.
Yeah.
But everybody's kind of busy with their own thing.
Yeah, cool. It is, and for those that don't know, myself included, Wasteland and Burning Man, different things, obviously, but what's the similarities or differences?
Wasteland Weekend, pretend the apocalypse happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Done. Okay, sweet.
So a lot of the aesthetics are based off of the Mad Max movies,
Gotcha.
Fallout, stuff like that.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Yeah. So there is a city, and it's 100% themed in the city they like it to be.
Yeah.
Wasteland is very much participatory.
Yeah.
You can't just attend the event. You have to have a costume.
Oh, cool.
You cannot just be a spectator.
Cool.
You
You got to be a part of it.
You have to come in a costume. And if your costume isn't good enough,
Yeah.
they will send you over to the body shop or a tribe called the Restorationists who will help you with your costume.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. All right, and when does that happen?
Usually it's late September for 5 days.
Cool.
So
What's the temperature like on the Mojave?
it can still be pretty warm.
Yeah.
And some years are really windy. A couple years ago, there was a huge windstorm where everybody hid for hours, and it decimated a lot of camps.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
It's wild. If you were to give a piece of advice to somebody who's interested in starting their own business based on what you've done so far, what would it be?
This is a tough one, really. Know your target market. Because currently I make what I want to make. And clearly it's...
Well, that's art, though.
Yeah, but I don't know. And see, that's one of the things, too, is a lot of the... I use a lot of filigree components and whatnot, especially for Sparks and Sparkles.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, I don't want to pay that.
Right.
Because it's actual good quality pieces.
Yeah.
Where one of my suppliers that I get them from lost 2 of her manufacturers that had been in business for over 100 years because they can't compete.
Wow.
With all of this stuff.
All the crap that's
from
out
overseas.
There. Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people use. And so their stuff is significantly cheaper, but it is also cheap.
Right.
Like these filigree pieces, you can literally bend them.
Yeah.
They're not quality. And so part of what I've had to struggle with is like minimizing the amount of components that come from overseas.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to pay that. Buy cheaper stuff.
Yeah, fuck them.
Well, the whole part of this is so I can make quality items.
Yeah.
If I'm just going to make crap that's from, Asia,
Sure. Yeah.
what's the point?
Yeah.
I can just go to Walmart and buy crap,
Yeah, sure.
Well,
yeah, no, you're right. I mean, certainly knowing your market and finding the market that's willing to pay a better dollar, a bigger dollar for stuff that's made from quality, and somebody who knows the difference between shit and the good stuff.
But they did have a point, like they said, is like some people don't care what it's made out of. They just want it to match the color of their outfit. Okay, well, I guess those people
Not
aren't
your market.
my market.
Yeah.
And the other thing about being on Etsy too is you're competing with bored housewives,
Right.
who make stuff because they're bored and they sell it on Etsy and they're selling it for an amount that barely covers the cost of the materials.
Right.
So again, how do you compete with that?
Yeah, leave that market space, I would say.
Yeah.
Separate yourself from that market entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What's a pointed question? What percentage of sales come from Etsy versus your other channels?
Probably 90% of my sales come from Etsy.
Okay. So that would be a difficult leap to make away from that platform. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Yeah.
Because that's what they are known for. Well, back in the day when they first started, they were like, it was the place to go for cool, unique stuff.
True. Yeah. Yeah.
And they are really well known for handmade goods.
Yeah. But it's just been flooded, as you're saying, like some 50 million pieces of...
What happened was they allowed, vintage is now allowed to be sold, vintage items, and craft supplies.
Oh.
So.
Talk about, crushing a marketplace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because then you got to fight through all that stuff to get to your stuff.
Yeah.
Wild.
So.
Huh. All right. Final question. We're moving away from business. What do you do for fun?
Well, we have 26 acres.
Uh-huh.
So we have a gun range set up on our land.
Nice.
That only about 4 people can probably hear us shooting guns.
Wow. What's your favorite gun?
Oh.
If you had to pick one.
If I had to pick one, I'd say my CX4 Storm.
Okay.
Yeah. I love that one.
Awesome.
I'm on my second one because when we moved to Connecticut, I couldn't bring it.
From Canada?
It was banned.
Wow.
Because of Sandy Hook.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So actually, I couldn't bring any of my guns. They were all very illegal to bring to the States. They have a point system.
Yeah.
So even my Ruger 1022 that had been all tacked out had too many points.
Oh, wow.
So it was illegal, so I couldn't bring it. So.
Oh, shit.
And we just finished building an epic feral cat house. When we bought our property, we had 8 feral cats, and now we're down to 3, and we need to get some more because we have coyotes, mountain lions out where we are, owls, rattlesnakes, scorpions, tarantulas, black widows. So we have which they mostly hide in. A lot of those hide in the winter, which is nice.
Yeah.
So we just built this really big cat house. I can actually sit inside the cat house.
Oh, that's nice.
It's huge.
Yeah.
So we want to get some more feral kitties.
Yeah.
Because they keep the mice down.
Yeah.
Which keeps the snakes away.
Shit.
So just a lot of doing stuff on the land. We were busy trying to get ready for Wasteland, which just happened in September.
Yeah.
And we travel a fair bit. So
no, that's cool.
Been working on getting the shop up and running. I built the husband some. So he bought a 1-ton flat deck truck and he wanted some side rails for it.
Yeah.
So I built those for him for his birthday.
Aw.
Yeah, and we're just trying to get stuff done on the land. We had some dirt work done not that long ago. So now we have a lane and we are going to build our axe throwing range.
Nice. To go with the gun range.
To go with the gun range. Yeah. And it can also be used as an archery range. So that'll be fun.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. That sounds like a fun place to hang out.
Yeah.
You're from Canada.
Yes. Born and raised in Calgary.
You're born, right. And so how are you finding life in the US of A?
It's very different.
Is it really? And I don't mean to sound naive at all, but I mean, like, you do wonder.
Well, yeah, for the most part, it's pretty much the same. But there's like some words that they totally make fun of you. Don't go to a gas station and ask where the washroom is.
Oh.
Because to them, the washroom is laundry.
Oh.
So they look at you like you're...
Like, what do you say, restroom or toilet?
Restroom.
Okay.
Yeah, restroom or, I guess, bathroom. But don't ask where the washroom is. You get funny looks.
I think I was going through Washington and I stopped at a 7-Eleven. I'm going to get the accent totally wrong, so don't hate me, Washington. But I was just like, she goes, "Do you want a sack with that?" I'm like, "A what?"
Sack.
She goes, "A sack." I'm like, "Oh," because up here that's different. I was going to get kicked between the legs. Yeah. I'm just like, "Oh, a bag, yes, please." Yeah.
They don't know what a parkade is.
Oh.
It's a parking garage or a parking structure.
That's
Don't
easy.
call them pylons. They're cones. I get made fun of because I still say A and I don't even know it.
Oh, shit.
They don't eat brown gravy with fries. They look at you like you're from another planet. They don't eat brown gravy and fries. They don't do fries and gravy.
Do they but poutine's making its way down there.
Is it?
I think so. It's certainly like New York, I think, has got like a poutineery.
Nice. Yeah. Their iced tea is not sweetened.
Love that about America.
So, and their portions are very, very large.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see that actually in some of the U.S. chains that make it up to Canada, like restaurant chains. It's ridiculous.
It is.
I can't eat that much food.
No.
Cool.
But we're 18 miles out of town, so it's pretty quiet.
Nice.
Yes.
What's your favorite books?
Currently, I mentioned EMRE earlier, our buddy EMRE Jackson. He used to write for car magazines, I think. Sorry if I'm getting this wrong, EMRE. But he wrote a series of novels, post-apocalyptic novels called Empty Cradle.
Yeah. I'll put links on the...
And I'm on the third one, and they're fantastic. So
that's super cool.
That's what I've been reading, trying to get through those. They're really good. Yeah.
Cool. I'll put links to all the stuff we talked about in the description, so you can check it out. What about movies? Do you have a favorite? Is there shows that you like to watch?
We're currently watching season 3 of Preacher, which is awesome. Yeah. We don't actually have cable. And we technically don't have a TV. We have a projector.
Oh, cool.
So our screen is like as big as the wall. So we have a movie theater in town, but we don't go. Why?
Yeah, why would you?
Why would we go? So we just like...
Oh, that's awesome. I think we watched season 2 of Preacher, and I haven't seen season 3 yet.
Yeah, we're on season 3. We just finished watching Man in the High Castle.
Oh, how is that?
It's amazing.
Yeah,
That's an amazing series.
Yeah, that's on our list for sure.
It's really, really good. It's really well done.
Nice.
And then like Walking Dead, we've kind of been putting that off. Z Nation.
Yeah.
So we have like these series that we follow: Blacklist, Blind Spot. Ben wants to check out Happy, and we watch some movies sometimes. We just watched Avatar.
Oh, really?
I know, totally a little behind the times there.
Oh, was that the first time you've seen it? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. What do you think?
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
They're coming out with sequels apparently really soon.
Yeah, I guess.
In like I think.
Oh,
so
that's cool.
I don't know.
James Cameron again?
I'm not sure. Yeah, well, we'll watch the odd movie once in a while. So
cool.
Mostly scavenge the desert for like, I don't know. Ben has all these searches going on Craigslist and stuff for like scrap metal and random metal stuff and cars, and we currently have 2 2 cars that are just like decorative that are sitting in our yard. So, and we'll probably wind up with a couple more of those.
Oh, that's cool.
But with 26 acres, I mean,
yeah, why not?
You can.
Yeah. Can you turn one into like a Tyrannosaurus kind of like, would you like weld some cool art shit onto a car, or is you just going to have it dilapidate over time?
Well, we currently have one. It's a DeSoto.
Yeah.
And it's got bullet holes in it. And I call her Betsy Bullet Hole DeSoto. And she's going to sit there.
Yeah.
She's got a very nice patina.
Yeah.
And she's going to sit there and look pretty in the yard.
Nice.
He's got an old military truck that he eventually wants to put an engine in and get it running.
Fun.
But that'll probably be a project like down the road.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Oh, that's cool.
he wants to get into scramble racing.
Oh, that'd be fun.
We went on, what was it, July 4th and watched the scramble races, and they were hilarious. So it was super fun.
Yeah.
So he bought a Brat.
Yeah.
He found a Subaru Brat.
Oh my
He was
God.
going to make it into a scramble car.
Yeah.
But it's too cute. No, he doesn't want to do it. And we took it to Wasteland, and everybody just loved it. It's so cute.
Yeah.
So
Oh, man. Yeah, I remember those. Didn't they have like the seats in the back?
it still do. The
Really?
jumper seats, yeah.
Oh my God.
These ones aren't attached, so I actually have to go and weld them back in.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. I love those things. Those are great.
So once we get our shop up, too, we can start working on wastelanding out some of our vehicles.
Sweet.
So
Yeah.
and I want to make camp furniture and stuff, too,
Oh,
for
cool.
Wasteland. So
Huh. Yeah, well, it's got to survive the apocalypse, so. Mm-hmm. So are you guys, I might cut this out. Are you guys preppers?
kind of.
Kind of?
Yeah, so when we were living up here, there's a company that sells that freeze-dried food stuff,
Yeah.
Thrive.
Yeah.
We had a lot of it.
Did you really?
Like two, they make these shelves for them.
Yeah.
2 shelving units full of it. And so we couldn't bring it down, so we wound up leaving it with my mom.
Oh.
So we actually, the last time we came up in May, we drove and we brought the trailer.
Oh, there
And we
you go.
brought it back.
Fuck yeah, you did.
So we probably have enough food for the 2 of us for like 6 months.
Nice.
And we're on a well,
Yeah.
and we have a 2,500 gallon storage tank.
Wow.
That's in a shed outside.
Yeah.
So we have water.
Yeah, you guys are
we
sorted.
gotta work on the solar, because currently the entire house, everything in the house runs on electricity.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like heat, everything is electricity.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's, yeah. So I think solar, I mean, you guys should be able to harvest a ton of solar energy up there.
He wants to look into that. So
Very cool.
because it is super sunny down there, it like rots your tires and
Really? I was going to
Oh, yeah.
ask if your tires actually melt to the road.
Well, last year was unusually hot.
Yeah.
And we did have these cat self-feeders for dry food
Yeah.
that were sitting outside, and they did melt a little bit because it was so hot. Yeah.
That's crazy.
But the sun really damages the rubber
Oh,
on your tires
really?
if they're left out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had dirt bikes. We want to get back into dirt biking too, because we both
Yeah.
have dirt bikes that were sitting outside, and it kills your batteries.
No shit.
Yeah. So he bought new batteries, put them in. We never used them another day.
Oh, man. Yeah, dirt biking on the Mojave would be amazing.
Well,
That's on my list.
we're right off pavement, but the pavement eventually ends and it's all dirt roads out there. So
Amazing.
we want to like go start exploring and
Yeah, no kidding. Cool. I am out of questions. This has been an absolute blast.
yes, it has. Thank you.
So again, all the links are going to be down in the description. So we'll give shout outs to Spark and Sparkle's Boutique and Dark Sparkle Designs and your friend that writes novels.
Emmy
and,
Jackson.
Yeah, and Wasteland and all that stuff and Etsy. And it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Don't miss an episode. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Music, because next week is episode 30. That's right, we've done 30 of these. And with me is Oliver Sherwood of Drivert. We talk about rebelling against your parents by wearing a suit and a tie, to leaving the oil and gas world behind, to our shared passion of motorcycles. Don't miss it. Episode 30 coming up.